shake it off and work your way beyond the fallout. But you still won't listen to me. Bam, the smack of the truth wakes you from your dreaming so inconveniently. It sucks that it was all for nothing. Your plans were redesigned. It's a shame you didn't stand for something. Now it's too late to make up your mind.
Millie, I have not yet. Unofficial raid! Hey Duck, what's going on? Lolash, hey buddy. Unless the Lolash isn't actually in here yet. No, we have not done Q&A with the devs of Never Alone. Not yet. It could happen. Yeah, Millie, that'd be really cool. Okay, so I'm debating if I should have this listed under gaming talk shows or This War of Mine. I think I will throw it under This War of Mine, maybe. Well, whatever. Gaming talk show. That's what we're doing. All right. Let me go ahead and unmute Skype. Alrighty,
Oh.
Can you guys hear me?
Absolutely.
Yes. Alright, awesome! So excited for this. Guys, listen, thank you so much for joining us today. I am sitting here virtually in Skype with Pavel and Casper, two gentlemen who had the opportunity, obviously, to work on This War of Mine and be involved with this project. And reason why I'm excited to do this Q&A is this is by far one of my favorite games. I tend to like survival type games, and this was a fresh game for me because I wasn't running around having to I'm not running around shooting other players in the face. It's not PvP. It's not your typical what people describe as a war game where you've got Battlefield or Call of Duty, which they try and pass off as war, and we know that's not how the realism of war, right? There's no emotional attachment. Yes. And so I wasn't sure what to think of the game. I got it. I loved it. And we're excited to be here with you guys today. So why don't we start with, I guess, some introductions. Talk about what you guys currently do, what your involvement was in the project, and who you guys are. And I guess, Pavel, we can start with you.
So, hello everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to be at MegnaGaming. Can you hear me all clearly? All is good?
Oh yeah, you're loud and clear.
Okay, so, well, I'm in the gaming industry for quite a time now. I started with my older brother, who is the CEO at 11-bit, almost 20 years ago. Meanwhile, wow. I was a tester, a writer, a PR guy, and I eventually ended up as a senior writer at 11-bit, where I help our PR guy to promote the game, and I'm also involved in a little of high-level design and writing. However, in This War of Mine, I was only helping writers like Kacper, Wojtek, and Maciek to write the stuff. However, I was from the very beginning I was involved in creating of this project, and I'm really proud of it. I had the opportunity to work with Kacper, who put a lot of efforts into to make what This War of Mine is. So maybe Kacper, you can introduce your now.
Yes, hi. It's really nice to be here. I still consider myself a newbie in the industry. I have only a few years of experience. That's not much comparing with Paweł. I worked at 11-bit Studios for 3 years.
Kasper is very humble, but he is a very experienced and very talented game designer. So, really, guys.
Thanks. It's nice to hear it from you. Yes, and I was one of the designers on this War of Mine. I was also partially responsible for the writing and developing the story. So far, it's my biggest project.
Right.
And yes, I'm really proud of how it ended, because yes, I think it's
Hello?
Hello.
become even better than we thought.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'm super pleased with it. And I correct me if I'm wrong. Is there an update coming out for this? I saw something on Twitter the other day.
Yes, we are tailoring a quite big update now, with, for example, with new locations, but because it is the biggest so far, we will still need some time to release it. Please expect it soon, yet sometime needs to be, sometime, we need just some time to make it finalized.
Right. Very cool. So, with that in mind, can you dive into maybe some hints as to what's coming with this update? What you guys are looking to be adding in?
I still don't want to spoil and unveil too many things. Please keep in mind we treat this War of Mine as an experience, so we simply want to expand it to make it wider for a player to, because in this War of Mine you can tell your own story. So in this update we want to just give you a lot more possibilities to tell your story. So for example, new places and new stuff inside, it's the thing.
Very cool. Okay. And I don't know if you can comment on this. It's sort of along the same lines, but have you guys over at 11-bit considered future expansions, DLC, anything along those lines?
Yeah, we will be surely, let's say, constantly developing new content in this War of Mine. So the next big update is surely not the last thing we plan. There's also a charity initiative that includes extra stuff in the game, but we need to finalize few details before I can share more info. But please expect info about the charity initiative really soon, maybe even next week.
That's awesome. And is that with Warchild?
Yeah, we're gonna be helping Warchild all the time. The last initiative was really small, and yet, thanks to the gaming community, we've managed to raise almost $5,000 for Warchild, so it's a great thing. And please keep in mind the next initiative is much bigger, so we expect to raise a lot more, and this is a great thing because, you know, we're simple, good guys trying to help. So.
Right, exactly. Could you actually, comment a bit on Warchild? Tell us a bit about how you guys got involved with Warchild and how that's been going.
Yeah. So yeah, basically, like, we're involved in charity initiatives since years, because I think like 3 years ago we started to work with Humble Bundle guys on organizing different gaming bundles to raise money for charity. And throughout all the bundles with other developers we've been involved with, I think we've managed to raise maybe close to $1 million. So
wow.
This is amazing amount of money. And we thought that developing this War of Mine is a natural opportunity to organize another charity. And we thought, like, why not Warchild? Because those guys are are raising money for kids in war zones to get them food, to get them clothes. In heavy cases, they try to help to actually make the kids can escape war zones and go to safer countries.
Wow, that's great.
The first initiative was done with Alienware and Logitech, so we've managed to get a really cool gaming PC from Alienware. We also sponsored our prizes, so everyone involved in the charity could could win such prizes. Now there's gonna be something different from this one, yet I think with a much bigger resonance, so to speak. So I hope I can tell you more next week.
All right, awesome, very cool. I kind of want to dive into the development process now, because obviously there's a ton of stuff that goes into developing a game, and I'm a huge fan of indie games. I'm a huge fan of just the whole process of what goes in behind them. So I guess, Casper, maybe we can start with you, if you can talk a bit about
Sure.
the design process. What, the stages you guys went through, some of the decisions you ended up making.
I can talk about this for hours.
Perfect.
Is it anything specific you'd like to know about the process?
Maybe just walk us through, like, I've got some more specific questions as we go on, but just sort of a bird's eye view as maybe why you guys picked the art style you went with. Some of the other things that I want to talk about is going to be the 3D modeling that you did, scanning in real people. Why did you guys decide to use friends, family, all this stuff?
All right, so let's start from the beginning. And the beginning was our CEO, Paweł's brother, Grzesiek, who came across this article about a man who survived a war in Bosnia during a war. And immediately he thought that it's a great idea for a game. Basically, as I saw it, it happened like in a few weeks. I don't know, Paweł, maybe you remember better. From the moment Grzesiek found this article to the moment we were really working on the game. It was rapid, I think. Paweł, how do you remember it?
Yeah, it was like Grzegorz was actually reading a lot of stories about different war zones in that time. I think he actually still does. I do read a lot about war, unfortunately, as well, as I'm afraid war is coming closer to Poland. But anyway, Greg was following different articles. Then it was a natural for us that the idea was so obvious and inspiring that it was like a spark that ignited the team, and we started to develop. Kacper, I remember Kacper was given a very interesting task by Michał, who is the design director, to make research about how emotions are raised in movies and how emotions can be raised in games.
Wow.
And Kacper
Yes.
made some really interesting information on that. So I bet Kacper can tell you more about it.
Yeah, please
Yes.
do.
This was one of the tasks at the beginning of the development, to find the ways of evoking emotions in players, comparing to the ways used in movies. And I found out that there are some emotions that are not available for movies or other passive media, but they can be used in games. For example, feeling of guilt, of regret. It's not something you can experience by just watching
Now, is
something. You have to live it, and that's something we wanted to achieve in This War of Mine.
Right. And I assume that's because when you're playing a game, you tend to become invested in the characters, because a lot of people tend to play the game, you know, basing it off of decisions that they would make themselves almost.
Yeah, that's the case, and you must remember that games are all about making decisions, and it's something that can be enforced in a game and used in a to so that the narrative becomes stronger. The narrative is fueled with the decisions the player is making. That's something we also wanted to achieve in this War of Mine from the beginning, so that you don't have just a story that you can interact with. You have a story that you are creating with your actions, with your decisions.
Right. And I guess from the writing perspective, Pavel, maybe you can comment on this. I mean, I just investigate a painting or a family photo, and just even the writing of these little stories. I love seeing these. A family photo of parents and 2 daughters. Good thing the girls don't resemble their father. He looks like a bear. Like all these sort of side thoughts or comments we come across. One that really hit home for me was at the school. You come across this note that this child has written home to their mother, and that hit home for me. I mean, I've got a 8-month-old boy here at home, and so as a parent, you kind of that one choked me up a bit. That hit home. But talk to me a bit about the writing process and the development of it, where you guys started to where you guys ended up.
Mm-hmm. So in case of this War of Mine, as much as I was involved in pretty all the writing in our other games, with this War of Mine it was a different case because I was busy with other stuff. So actually I was involved in discussing with Michał and Przemek, the main characters, let's say the main people behind this War of Mine,
Right.
into thinking in what direction we should go and what should be the overall tonality and style. The very precise writing was done by Kacper and Maciek and Wojtek. So, for example, what guys were doing was that we felt we should really have characters that reflect regular people like you and me. Because there was an assumption made by Michał at the beginning of the development that we shouldn't make this War of Mine as a particular example of some genre, let's say survival,
Right.
or let's say strategy or whatever. No, we should be thinking not in terms of genre, but in terms of experience about civilians in the war.
Wow,
So
yeah.
literally everything was created around the idea, let's make experience of civilians in the war. So if you think this way, every answer about gameplay or writing is actually involved in this idea. So why we have stories of regular people like football player, like fireman, like mathematician, like a lawyer, it's because these are regular people like you and me. When war would break out, we wouldn't be soldiers or riding tanks or whatever.
Right.
We would be just regular civilians, and your main task will be to take care of you, take care of yourself and your family. And most likely you're not gonna have skills of soldiers. You're gonna be a Twitch streamer, a computer programmer, a designer, a cook, a teacher, or name any other normal profession people have. We would just be regular people. So this War of Mine reflects it. And actually Kacper was responsible for creating some of those characters. And what you can see on the screen, here we see Marco, and Marco is our graphics guy, in reality graphics guy Piotrek, and Pawle, this is actually based on Kacper, at least his appearance, because Kacper, obviously he's a designer, not football player, but with, Kacper plays horribly, sorry Kacper, but you know this is true.
That's true. Yes, I know.
Yes, but that was the case. So Kacper and Maciek Skóra were creating biographies of regular people, and I believe they made it amazingly.
Yeah, it's I love reading the bios. I love seeing the different dynamics of how everyone works together. Now I have to ask, there's three characters that I've had a lot of comments on about what the heck do they do? Because obviously they're, like Marco, it's skilled scavenger. That's an obvious, you know what his benefit is or what he's skilled at. Then you've got someone like Anton, who's the mathematician. Now, mathematician doesn't really tell you too much. Are you able to give any insight into what some of these other characters do?
Maybe we could keep it a mystery. I like reading how players are trying to solve this puzzle, and they have different theories about how Anton's or Sveta's skills are useful for the game. But the truth is, it's related to what Pavel said. Those people just have, I'd say, normal skills from normal life. Some of them are more useful for this kind of situation, and some are, useful but in other worlds, perhaps. And we wanted to keep it this way. We still wanted for everyone to have some distinctive skill, but not everyone must have a skill that's useful in some particular situation in the game.
Right, that makes sense. All right. Now, either one of you guys can take this one. Maybe comment a bit on the 3D scan. I know, Pavel, you posted up a video on Google Plus about the scanning process and stuff. Like, why did you guys decide to do that? Was this a new technology for you guys to use?
Can you please, I didn't hear the last part. Can you please repeat?
Yes, sorry. And just to let you know, as far as the codes and stuff, I see my bot just timed you out for caps. Maybe a mod can fix that.
Yes, sorry, man. This is because I wanted to give some soundtrack keys, and they need to be in caps. So excuse me for that.
No. What I was gonna suggest, if you could actually either send them to me just in the Skype chat or email them to me, what I can do, I can actually run a giveaway, and then people can enter like with tickets and whatever, and then that way it's like a fair random chance.
Yeah, sure.
That'd be awesome. Thank you. And I'll repost the one that you just posted there. Yeah, that was the other one.
Done.
Thank you very much. Okay, so my question was regarding the 3D scanning process to get these characters into the game. And when I say characters, obviously I mean you guys, friends, family, etc.
Yes, it's true.
Why did you guys choose to do that with the 3D scanning? Was it a new technology for you guys that you hadn't used before? Talk to me a bit about that process.
I'd say 3D scanning is new to the whole industry. It's only becoming popular lately, and certainly it was new for 11-bit studios. We haven't done that before. If I remember correctly, it was something that our lead graphic artist Dominik came up with, or at least he was one responsible for the whole process, and we were really surprised by the results. It needed some time to. We needed to learn some things before it could be used, but when we did so, it was pretty easy to put someone in the game, and later on in the process, the guys from the graphics team were really skilled and really efficient in just taking people and putting them in a game in a 3D version.
Is it weird seeing yourself in a game?
Yes, it is actually. I think it's better that the characters are not named after us. They have different biographies. Then we're just becoming actors, and not. It's not that. It's not that we are in this game.
Right.
They are characters played by us as actors.
Right, I see what you're saying. And I guess no need to confirm one way or the other, but one thing just to discuss it, I know a lot of people that I've seen in the forums or even that have messaged me have want the ability to, you know, create their own characters, put their own photo in, put in their own stats, that sort of thing. I don't know if that's something that's ever going to be considered, if it's ever in the works, but I personally, I just thought that was a cool concept. So as far as using real people, why did you guys decide to do that? I mean, obviously, when I say real people, actors are real people too. I get that. But why did you guys decide to use not actors?
Because when war would break out again, nobody would be actors around. So actors are, don't get me wrong, probably maybe it would work, but we really wanted to achieve the feel of regular people. So this is ourselves, sometimes fat, sometimes skinny, sometimes tall,
Unshaved,
sometimes
always unshaved.
yeah, sometimes short. One of the characters is Mr. Krzysiek, who is the guard at the office we work. In the game he is called Anton, very nice guy and our colleague. So we literally wanted to have regular people you meet every day on street. Actors are, you know, shiny and beautiful. This is a bit ironic, but simply actors give you I think a bit too much Hollywood feel. We wanted rather to stay away from it.
Gotcha. Okay. And I guess as far as the stories, my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys ended up interviewing a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds with a lot of different experiences. Is that correct?
Maybe not a lot, but it was quite a number. It was really easy because we are from Poland, and this country has been unfortunately heavily touched by last wars,
right?
Especially Second World War. So 99% of people in Poland has families who really saw war not so long ago. I remember a lot of war stories from my grandmother.
Yes,
she passed away a few years ago. We still have our colleagues in the office and friends. They still have grandmothers and grandfathers who actually remember war. My grandfather was even given a medal for conquering Berlin.
Wow.
When he was forced to join People's Army of Poland that was fighting alongside communists. But it was, you know, it was heavy. So the memory of what's been going on is very alive in Poland, especially in Warsaw, because Warsaw was extremely devastated, and after the uprising of 44, people who were living here really forgotten by anyone, just trying to survive in the ruins, starving and outnumbered by diseases and by shootings and fires. So it was incredibly heavy experience, yet Warsaw somehow managed to survive and be reborn. So this is a living memory. So even I never experienced real war. I never want to. I think war is the most horrible thing that can happen. The memory of it is still very alive in Poland.
Right. And I guess this, either of you can answer. I'm sure you'd have different answers, but do you have, like, from either the people that were interviewed or from a storyline, if you will, that's in the game, do you guys have a story that was most impactful for you?
I don't know, Kacper, how about you?
You mentioned the story of a girl in a school. Of course, we made up the story that ended up in a game, but it was heavily inspired by a book called Zlata's Diary. Zlata was a real young girl who lived in Sarajevo during the siege, and she was writing a diary, just about her normal life that was shattered by war. She still wanted to keep it normal, keep it as it was yesterday, but it wasn't possible.
Right.
And it was a story. The whole book really touched me. I was working with the guys on a story and the writing in a game. My idea was to capture this mood of normal life, crushed by the war, and therefore we had this little how do you call it? Reference to the book in a form of the story you mentioned.
Right. Okay. Very cool. And Pavel, what about you?
I don't know. It's got. I see it as a cross through. Maybe it's not a good word. For me, I remember talking to Emir because from all those people I knew that survived war. I had opportunity to talk to Emir. He was a kid when he escaped Bosnia. Now he lives in France. And I remember Emir talking about that war is often boredom, but not boredom in a way that you are bored at home, but boredom in a way that you can't do anything because it's not safe on the street. So you stay hidden in basement or something in your room,
Right.
and you live in tension because you have no idea what will come the next day. Yet you cannot do anything, you cannot go outside and play, so you're bored to death.
Right.
On the other hand, because living of this tension makes you want to be somehow immune. So despite of the war, people, for example, make sometimes funny things. They even make jokes about surrounding war because they want to be somehow, at least to some level, mentally immune to the horrible things that surround them. And Emir gave me few anecdotes about it. So it was it showed that it's not also festival of demons. It's also a place where people try to stay human no matter what is surrounding them. So this is, for example, why we have in the game a little moments of joy. Like you can create a moonshine still, distill alcohol, drink it, and get drunk and sing or play a guitar.
Right.
You can actually do that in this world of mine. So this reflects the reality of war and people yet trying to be immune to it. This is something amazing for me.
Nice. Now, this one, I personally don't have a problem with the way the game saves, but I've seen a lot of comments. Some people get pretty upset that the game decides to save after night, mainly because if people decide to quit during the day, they sometimes get different results when they come back. One night they might not be rated. They quit during the middle of the day. The next time they load the game, they've been rated. Was there a reason why you guys chose to have the save points be first thing in the morning just before the news?
As I remember it, it was. I think there wasn't any particular reason to do it this way. We didn't want to use too much resources on some fancy system of save games because at the time it wasn't essential for the whole experience. In our opinion, it worked. It worked quite good. Perhaps there are some other ideas that could be implemented, but I think we were content with the one that was chosen.
Okay, very cool. And another thing that's come up a lot that I've seen asked regarding mods, is there any chance for perhaps mod support in the future?
We have a bit. We are hesitating because this is a very serious experience, and I bet most of the people would understand it, but some probably would want to make zombie mods and stuff. I'm not sure we should go into this direction. However, this is the idea we have for expansions. We're gonna make the experience a lot bigger, so probably this is the direction players expect from us to deliver.
Gotcha. Okay. And yeah, I'm noticing Ukrainian Bard in chats has commented about some people abuse the current save feature. And excuse me, I mean, my perspective on that, if there's, you know, I tend to stay away from stuff that reduces the immersion of the game. I know some people take the approach of, if the game lets me do it, then it's legit. I should be able to do it. And I tend to go for the realism approach.
Yeah, I understand you, and I understand the community very well, but sometimes when you're a writer, you have some vision that probably you understand as a creator from a different angle, and I guess this is the case with some games, because let's imagine you have the possibility to rewrite the Schindler's List or the Pianist. You wouldn't probably put zombies into it, and we want to hold onto it, but really don't get me wrong, we're gonna offer this War of Mine players a lot more freedom within the experience, because this is where the expansion will go. So stay tuned for more details.
Very cool. Another one that came up. Have you guys ever thought about moving this game to a mobile expansion, tablet, for example?
Yeah, we're working on it right now. We already have a pretty stable build, but still a lot of polishing needs to be done. I hope to have this build with me at upcoming GDC, or maybe Carol will have at PAX East in Boston. So probably this will be the moment to show more. It's gonna be one-to-one port from the PC version for Android tablets and iPads. So yeah, it should be out this spring. It's kind of hard to estimate arrival time at the moment.
Gotcha. Very cool. For either of you guys, I assume you've played through this a couple times at least. Do you have a preferred playstyle? My preferred playstyle has always been, you know, how I would do it in real life. I avoid stealing them as much as I can. I try not to kill anyone. I know there's other people who, you know, the second they got the game, they're like, "Oh, let's go kill the old couple at the quiet house." It's like, so do you guys have a preferred playstyle that you utilize?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward, because you can go and attack everyone, but sooner or later the reality of war will punish you for that, and that's the brutal lesson. So you can do it, but you need to consider pluses and minuses each time. And as much as it is a simulation of similar experience or gaming portrayal, of course it's not one-to-one real life experience, because we have no idea how it is to go through a real war, and honestly I never want to know. We just wanted to raise awareness that that's how civilians suffer in the war. Yet let's imagine we are put in such horrible situation, and it's not a lose imagination, so to speak, because there's a war behind Polish border on Ukraine, and
Right.
honestly, it terrifies me. And more often I am thinking what I am going to do when it happens in Poland. And it's, it's not funny. I think then we will be just on our own, and we will still have to act in a way, in a bigger group you're able to survive. On your own, probably you won't make it, right?
Right.
So I'm just thinking about it, and maybe in America it sounds like a pure hypothesis, but in Poland we are unfortunately close to Russia, so this game may become more real sooner than I think, and it terrifies me. It's horrible.
I know with Bruno's story especially, he talks about thinking war would never come to his doorstep, and even seeing it on the news, he didn't buy it, and then suddenly it was there. He realized that the shouting and the shooting and everything was up the street, and it finally became reality for him. And I do feel that a lot of people, at least in North America, I'm here in Canada, we don't hear about war outside the news. I mean, I try and avoid watching the news as much as I can, but I feel like
I
a lot of
fully
people,
understand.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't realize that it could happen. Like one day in Yugoslavia, in wherever, one day people have just normal life, everything's going well, and then the next day something like this happens, and it's not necessarily something you can always be prepared for. And I like the way that this game addresses those realities. And I also like the fact that I guess this is after the war has been going on for years, right? Because this is sort of towards the end of the conflict.
Yes.
So it doesn't provide you with that, oh, I'm gonna go loot this house and it's gonna have a fridge stocked full of food and I'm set for the next 3 weeks. You really have to scrounge up what you can to survive, and deal with the consequences of what's happened thus far. Now, inspiration, I guess, for the art style. It's almost like a charcoal drawing with this 3D rendering, and it's got some color, but it's mostly black and white. Talk to me a bit about what was this just tied in because what was the reasoning for the art style, I guess?
There has been a lot of work put into it by the graphics guys, and especially art director Przemek. So he would be actually better to describe it. But the main idea was a bit evolution. But from the very beginning, Przemek wanted to have a little of effect of music videos from 80s or 90s that was a bit sketchy. On the other hand, a grim look of the old photograph, but not old photograph like from 100 years ago, but like, photograph from 70s or 80s.
Right.
And everything this combined gave this grim feel, which was all the time designed with the idea in mind that we should somehow reflect the real and the emotional side of war. So I think the painting feel like was added to this as well, but it's just my knowledge from what I've been talking to Przemek. I bet he would tell you a lot of more detail into it.
Yeah, I also heard that he was inspired by Banksy. Actually, I heard this quite lately, but
yeah, absolutely. Kacper is right. Przemek was checking a lot of anti-war Banksy paintings, and I think a little of it can be felt in the game as well.
Right. Okay. Can you talk a bit about either one of you talk a bit about the music in the game? The audio, the sound effects are awesome. I love them. The background audio, the music's beautiful. Even on the radio, talk a bit about, I guess, what went into the selection of music. Who was involved with creating it, that sort of thing.
Yeah, most of the soundtrack was created by Piotr Musiał, who is usually involved in making music for 11-bit Studios games. He's great and really talented, really great guy. For this War of Mine, we used references such as The Last of Us soundtrack or other soundtracks by the man behind it. For example, from a movie called Babel.
Right, okay.
Yes, and also some Balkan music, some folklore, Eastern European folklore, and the rest was just Piotr's invention to merge it in a whole, in a coherent whole that immediately sounded great with the game. We early on hearing his samples, we thought this is great. This is the background for the game.
Very cool. Another thing that I know freaks people out from time to time. The pictures in the corner blink. Whose idea was that, or how did that come up? I think that's ingenious. I love it.
It was Przemek, definitely, our director, and I don't know how he invented this idea, but yes, it was quite surprising, but to great effect.
Awesome. Is there, I guess, from your end, anything else that you guys want to add? Comment on, talk about your experience, etc.
Well, if I can do some advertising, I'm gonna repeat myself and let you know that there's gonna be expansion. There's gonna be tablet version. So if you're on the East Coast planning to be at PAX East, please come over to our booth on PAX East. It's gonna be number 11093 as far as I remember. I'm not sure at the moment, but we're gonna surely be there. And yeah, keep in mind we really have a lots of ideas for expansions. We're gonna make all the updates for free for those who have the game.
That's awesome.
So yeah, and keep in mind there's gonna be really interesting charity initiatives that also include some new stuff in the game, but I think the details would spoil what is it. So once we set everything up, I will definitely make some press release and let know on Twitter and Facebook and wherever I can.
That's awesome. And I know you guys at 11-bit Studios, this isn't your only game. Do you want maybe talk a bit about some of the other projects you guys have done or are currently involved with?
We have been mostly known for Anomaly series, which was in last year we closed this series. We released the last game, which is a simple tower defense game, Anomaly Defenders, and now we have another simultaneous project in the works under a working title, Industrial, which is completely different to anything else we've made and different to this War of Mine as well. It's shaping up, so it's a bit too early to say about it. I think we can be ready to show Industrial at PAX Prime in Seattle. So if you guys are planning to be at PAX Prime, it would be great to meet up there and show you our new projects. So it's gonna be probably early September.
All right, very cool. Yeah, I'm hoping to be at PAX Prime, so we'll see how that goes. Speaking of PAX, I heard you had a bit of a situation with luggage. What happened with that?
It's like we had 6 bags, and the last time 5 of them were lost. They were delivered 2 days ago via courier, but some items was lost. Half of them was totally damaged. It was simply horrible.
Oh, so my goodness, that's terrible.
We've lost stuff worth, I don't know, maybe at least $1,000. A horrible journey. I really don't want to have such again.
Wow, so choosing different airline next time?
Probably, yeah.
That's crazy. Is there anyone in chat that has any pressing questions that we haven't covered yet today? I'm opening up to anyone in chat.
Yeah, so I gave to MegnaGaming some keys. Those keys are to be redeemed on www.gamesrepublic.com. So if you register there, and this is pretty easy, you can do it via Facebook or Twitter or email or whatever. You go to my profile, then go to my games, and there you have the redeem button. If you hit this button and paste one of the keys, you will get the free soundtrack. So it's a exclusive expanded version of the soundtrack available only on Games Republic and Humble Store.
Great, thank you. And there's a bunch of keys there, so I'll open a giveaway for
If
these
you have
just after.
if you have more people live right now, I can get you more, so no problem. Just ping me on Skype.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Just catch up on chat here. Rabbit, yes, that is an appropriate quote. Yes. Bart is sort of asking. He just says he noticed that on Steam, this War of Mine got enabled downloadable content, and he's asking about what you'll add as DLC. Now I know we kind of talked about this briefly, and it's kind of hush hush. Do you have a rough idea of when you're looking, like what the target is for having some of this DLC available?
You know, it's maybe because we are developing few projects related to this War of Mine simultaneously. So when it comes to the big update, it's not gonna be DLC, it's gonna be free automatic update for everyone who has the game. And let's say spring, because it's really hard to estimate. Maybe we will need 3 weeks, maybe 7, so I don't want to promise.
Right.
And the other thing is related to charity initiative, and I would love to share details probably next week.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for that. Any other last minute questions, guys? See, the thing with Twitch, we've got a 30-second delay as well between when they hear us and then when they're able to respond. So.
Yeah, I noticed that's why it's hard to comment on the gameplay.
Does 11-Bit Studios have a stream channel?
Actually, we don't. We do have a YouTube channel where we post vlogs about what we do, all our trailers and stuff like that. However, we consider maybe streaming on Twitch from time to time. The problem is that we're horribly busy with current work, so I am afraid we could maybe we could do that, just I don't know, from time to time, once a week, maybe, I don't know. So I don't want to promise. I rather prefer joining streamers from time to time, like we do now with you.
Awesome. Well, I'm always down to do this again in the future. I love, especially with new games and indie games. I'm always a fan of seeing what's coming out. And if there's no other questions from chat, I mean, I guess that's it for now, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me.
Thank you. It was fun.
Answered a ton of questions. It was nice to kind of get some insight behind the game and the process.
Thank you very much. It was really nice. Surely we can join some other time. Tomorrow it's already pretty late in Poland, as
yes,
it's 10:30 p.m. So next week I'll be preparing for GDC and other guys for PAX East, but sometime in the future, please let me know, and I guess we can make another stream together again.
Awesome, yeah, I'd love that opportunity. And I'm gonna be continuing the playthrough of this game for another hour or so. For those of you guys who are in chat, and we are going to be doing a giveaway.
Sorry, by the way, Franco, which you can see Franco on the screen right now, Trader. This is Przemek, our art director. This is his photo.
That's awesome.
Yes, the one responsible for the blinking characters.
Nice, very cool. And I guess, while I still have you guys here, as far as the trading mechanics goes, what, certain things become more valuable as obviously, war changes, coffee becomes hard to come by, etc., etc. The whole trading mechanic, did you guys struggle with that at first? Like, how did you hammer out the details as far as the bartering system? It's not like, hey, this is worth $10. I'm gonna give you $10 because money's useless at this point. Your currency becomes items. How did you figure out the balance with that?
The whole system was pretty straightforward, and we almost the first design was the one we used. Perhaps it had 2 iterations, but the problem is, like you said, with the balance. It was a tremendous work, mostly by the lead designer Rafał, and actually it's something beyond my understanding of the game, but it has some kind of simplified simulation of the market underneath, and that's why some items sometimes become more expensive or cheaper, or some characters are willing to pay more for particular items, etc.
Right.
Yeah, and I think I've made once a calculation of how many play hours has been spent by us, by Rafał and QA guy Paweł and other guys helping in QA for the balance, and it was thousands of play hours, thousands.
Wow.
So amazing work has been done by the guys to make a proper balance, and Rafał was the leader of it.
Very cool. Now, Ukraine Bar is asking, I know you mentioned earlier, but as far as the soundtrack being available as DLC, is that something that is maybe coming to Steam?
This is a question actually of our friend company on Games Republic, that we agreed earlier that we would have soundtrack on Games Republic and on Humble Store. This is simply because Games Republic helps us a lot in businessy things. However, I think it will be no problem at a later point to add soundtrack on Steam for everyone who already owns the game.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
You can surely give extra key to the Ukrainian bards, key to the soundtrack. So if you run out of, I can get you more.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I'll make sure to send you a message on Skype. Guys, thank you so much once again. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you again.
And
Thank you again, and have a good evening, guys.
you too.
It's evening here.
It's 4:30 in the afternoon right now.
All right.
So we're getting there. I'll be going till 3 a.m. So we're here a while yet.
All right. So and good luck with the playthrough.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Take care, guys.
Thanks.
Take
bye.
care. Cheers.
All right, guys. Listen, that was so much fun. Let me just give me a sec. I'm just gonna change up our title here. Actually, you know what? I'll leave it. Whatever. I'm on for another hour. That was a lot of fun. There were so many questions I had, and they got answered, and I was excited to hear from them. The VOD for this will be posted up both on YouTube and on Twitch for you guys to reference later on. Let's go ahead and let me set up this this giveaway. I mean, I guess I could pretty much give anyone a key, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 keys it looks like I have right now.